All right, we got 1 minute. I'm having some chocolate first, so I can.
Did you start yet?
Not yet.
When you leave,
What's that?
if you leave before me,
Uh-huh.
there's one switch that you can turn off. It's this one right here.
That one? Okay.
Wait, I wanted to. Wait, something that says tub. What's this?
No, you're welcome to Woody.
I had this the other night.
That's all right.
No, not. I should remember this stuff. The welcome is on.
I thought it was the top one.
Yeah, but this one, is it supposed to turn out over here?
No. All right, guys. Just a reminder.
Oh.
We're going to Sully the Seahorse. A dog named Doug. And the next in the Mr. Putter and Tabby series, Mr. Putter and Tabby run the race. So, why don't we get started? All right, let's go to Mr. Putter and Tabby run the race. All right. So that's a little picture in there. All right, and there's Tabby in the running shoes box. All right. Chapter 1. Find your sneakers. It was April. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby were full of April energy. They always got extra energy in April. Flowers were blooming, birds were singing, showers were showering. April! Mr. Putter and Tabby felt it. Mrs. Teabury next door must have felt it too. She called Mr. Putter one April morning. "There's a race," she said. "A race?" asked Mr. Putter. "A marathon," said Mrs. Teabury. Uh-oh, thought Mr. Putter. He was sure Mrs. Teabury was going to ask him to run the race with her. "Will you run the race with me?" asked Mrs. Teabury. Mr. Putter gave Tabby more cream. "Aren't we too old to run a race?" asked Mr. Putter. "It's a senior marathon," said Mrs. Teabury. "Nothing but old people." Mr. Putter gave Tabby another biscuit. "I have not run anywhere in 30 years," said Mr. Putter. "I don't think I remember how to run." "There are prizes," said Mrs. Teabury. "Prizes?" asked Mr. Putter. Mr. Putter loved prizes. "One is a train set," said Mrs. Teabury. "Really?" asked Mr. Putter. "With lights and switches and tunnels?" "With lights and switches and tunnels," said Mrs. Teabury. "Really?" asked Mr. Putter again. All right. "The train set is second prize," Mrs. Teabury said. Mr. Putter could not imagine a train set being second prize. It should be first. "What is first prize?" asked Mr. Putter. "Golf clubs," said Mrs. Teabury. Mr. Putter did not play golf. He tried once, but he and Tabby kept getting lost. Mr. Putter did not want golf clubs. "I want that train set," said Mr. Putter. "I knew you would," said Mrs. Teabury. "Find your sneakers." Alright. Chapter 2. Toes and Tea. Mr. Putter started training for the marathon. It was not easy. It took him 4 days just to find his sneakers. Then he had to work out. Mr. Putter did not want to work out. He wanted to eat muffins with Tabby. Hi, Barbara. But he knew that Mrs. Teaberry was working out because sometimes her good dog Zeke ran by with a jump rope in his mouth. When Zeke wanted to play, he took things and ran. So Mr. Putter had to work out too. He decided he would touch his toes 30 times every day to make up for the 30 years he'd forgotten how to run. The first time Mr. Putter tried to touch his toes, he could not reach them. He touched his knees instead. He touched his knees twice, and then he had a cup of tea with Tabby. The next time Mr. Putter tried to touch his toes, he tried 10 times, and he never got there. But he enjoyed his tea with Tabby very much, and he decided knees were just fine. Zeke kept running by with his jump rope. Mr. Putter kept touching his knees, and Tabby had lots of tea. Things were going great. Hi, Dutchie. Chapter 3. Seniors. It was finally the day of the senior marathon. Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke were very excited. Mrs. Teaberry had made special outfits for both of them. Zeke still had a jump rope in his mouth. Zeke had become very attached to his jump rope. They all drove to the race. When they arrived, they saw many seniors lining up to run. Zeke and Tabby got settled on top of the car. Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry got settled near the starting line. I didn't know there were this many old people, said Mr. Putter. No, we're everywhere, said Mrs. Teaberry. Mr. Putter looked around. He saw a lot of old people touching their toes. Uh-oh, thought Mr. Putter. Everyone got in line. I hope you win the train set, said Mrs. Teaberry. I hope you come in first, said Mr. Putter. The horn sounded, and the seniors started running. Chapter 4. The Race. Everybody passed Mr. Putter. Everybody except 2 people. 2 people who tripped and fell and never got up. But everybody else passed Mr. Putter. Mrs. Teaberry was way out in front. Mr. Putter was way behind. Tabby was asleep, and Zeke had a jump rope in his mouth and wanted to play. That's when the race took a turn. Suddenly, there was confusion. A dog with a jump rope was running the race. All of the seniors tried to pass him. They started bumping into one another. Some of them got bumped right off the road. Some of them stopped running and started arguing. 4 of them tripped. But one of them wanted a train set so badly that he ran right past everybody and grabbed hold of that jump rope and held on for dear life. Zeke finally had someone to play with. Zeke was so happy that he ran even faster. That made Mr. Putter run even faster. Mr. Putter did not let go. He wanted that train set. He passed one runner after another, after another, after another. And then he passed Mrs. T-Berry. And then he won the race. Everyone cheered. Everyone clapped. Everyone was happy. Except, everyone is except Mr. Putter. He just won a set of golf clubs that had no lights and no switches and no tunnels. Phooey, thought Mr. Putter. All right, Chapter 5, Perfect Prizes. But things worked out after all, because who came in second? Mrs. T-Berry. So she and Mr. Putter swapped prizes. Mrs. T-Berry took her golf clubs home, and Mr. Putter took home the best train set he had ever seen in his life. And for the rest of April, Mrs. T-Berry and Zeke came back from the golf course and went straight to Mr. Putter's house to watch his trains. Mr. Putter had a train hat. Mrs. T-Berry had a golf hat. Zeke had a jump rope. Tabby had a nap. And things worked out perfectly. And then here's Zeke on the train tracks. So that concludes Mr. Putter and Tabby Run the Race. Alright, next we are going to read A Dog Named Doug. And I am going to take the cover off because I have a habit of ruining these. So, this dog is named Doug. Doug likes to dig, but when Doug digs, oh boy, does Doug dig. Alright, so let me show you some of the pictures here. Alright. A dog named Doug. Yes, I saw Putterville. Alright. Once there was a dog named Doug. Doug liked to dig, but when Doug, oh God, oh that's going to be fun to play. But when Doug, oh boy, did Doug dig. Look what this doggy did to the yard. Once he dug up a ground squirrel's nest. The feisty squirrel was not impressed. I can dig better than you. Doug howled with laughter. Let's see if that's true. So they started the race, but Doug dug faster. He proved that he was the digging master. With his nose down low, the dirt flew high. Clumps hit the cat as Doug sauntered by. Uh-oh, there's cat violence in this book. Look at that cat. Look what Doug did to that cat. And look how far back the squirrel is. Many miles of dirt Doug dug, leaving heaps and piles and mounds of mud. That's hard to say. And ruts so deep and holes so wide that a giant tractor fell inside. That's hard to read. And boy, did Doug dig. Look at that. Look what Doug is doing. He dug to the east. He dug to the west. He dug his way to a treasure chest. With about $1 million inside, Doug smiled wide, then tossed it aside. He dug his way past an old gold mine and took no note of the danger sign. And look, there's a little miner there. Actually, he looks older than 18. He might not be a miner. All right. And oh boy, did Doug dig. There's a lot of pictures here. He dug to the north. He dug to the south. There's grit in his eyes and sand in his mouth. But Doug kept scratching and scratching on till his head popped up on the White House lawn. He took the tour, he saw the lights, and decided he'd better dig home for the night. So Doug got busy digging and oh boy, did Doug dig. And dig, and dig, and dig, and dig. And look at the pictures. He's underwater, under the sea. He's at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Look, there's Lassie Starr. He's on the Serengeti with a lion and a giraffe. He's at a bowling alley. And then he's at Easter Island. And dig, and dig, and dig, and dig. Here's some more pictures. So Doug has really dug. And dig, look at this. This is funny. He has dug himself to China, and everything is upside down. At home, the family scolded him hard. Doug, stop digging holes in the yard. But they fed him a bone, gave him a hug, then tucked him in bed with a good night, Doug. But still, Doug. Doug settled into his cozy bed with visions of marvelous holes in his head. Doug had a dream he was digging, and oh boy, did Doug. And oh boy, did Doug dig. I don't know where this is. He's obviously in very colorful. Looks like he's on another planet. So that's the end of a dog named Doug. A picture of Doug on the back. So that is a dog named Doug. And the final book for tonight, well, sort of the final, there's going to be a little thing, is Sully the Seahorse. I just got this in the mail. Another picture of Sully the Seahorse. First published in 2019, Sea School Studies, Staffordshire, England. So this is definitely from England. Down in the depths below shivering tides lived a young seahorse who wanted to hide. Sully was so very tiny and small, he didn't feel very special at all. Oh, how he longed to be good at one thing. Sully just wanted to be fast or to sing. Days were quite rough or quite tough for this seahorse at school. He was known as a loser. Yes, sea life was cruel. The day had arrived that Sully so feared. The others loved it and thought he was weird. What could be happening? Just what might it be? Waves of excitement whooshed fast through the sea. Daisy the dolphin was humming a note. Pufferfish Pete was fine-tuning his bloat. Practicing dance moves and tuning guitars. It was the annual games called Sea School Stars. I guess it's kind of like Enchantment Under the Sea from Back to the Future. The contest starts soon, reminded Miss Trout. Sully felt worried and started to shout. Do I have to take part, miss? Please say no. Yes, she replied. You should give it a go. Honk went the horn. Can you please get in place? Miss Trout said, time for the swimmer's big race. Sully cried, no, I am going to lose. Daisy just laughed and looked very amused. On your mark. Get ready. Get set. Go! Sully set off, but he was moving so slow. Susie the swordfish shot into the lead, but ouch, her long bill got caught in seaweed. Wilbur the whale was the first past the post. Ha! I'm the winner, he started to boast. Sully so wished to be swift like the whales, with big wide flippers and super strong tails. I'm not so special, I'm just not that fast. And yes, you guessed it, poor Sully came last. Daisy, of course, won the singing cup match. Her notes were so piercing, some turtle eggs hatched. Ollie was crowned Magician of the Year. Sully wished he could make shells disappear. So Ollie's an octopus, and then we got Daisy the dolphin. I guess Ollie the octopus is really good with sleight of hand. Then it was time for the dancing contest. Miss Trout said, please give it, can you just do your best? Sully decided to give it a try. He took a deep breath and tried not to cry. On your marks, ready, get set, go! Sully was dancing, but he had no flow. Just then a huge shadow cast a dark cloud over the stage on the dancers and crowd. Poised up above was a boat hunting prey, hoping to grapple a catch of the day. Splash went the diver deep down into the sea, aiming to catch a young seahorse or three. These tiny creatures are wanted as pets. Watch out, little Sully. Here comes the net. I'm trying to put my leg up. Hold on for 1 second. There we go. Closer and closer the diver did swim, heading for Sully, whose chances were slim. Oh, thank you. Then something quite simply stunning took place, better than singing or winning a race. Sully changed color before their shocked eyes. Swordfish and dolphin just stared in surprise. Do you see Sully is a different color? On your marks. Ready. Get set. Go! But this time, Sully wasn't so slow. As quick as a flash, his armor changed shade. He started to blend with the background and fade. Sully had camouflaged and turned a pale green. He hid in seaweed reeds and couldn't be seen. The driver gave up. He paddled away, back to the boat with no catch of the day for the day. Sully came out when it was safe and cleared. All of the sea creatures let out a big cheer. He took center stage. They looked on in awe. Master of camouflage, encore, encore. Changing from greens to be like the sea reeds, to sparkling bright blues as deep as the seas. For the very first time, Sully felt proud. Seahorses are special, he laughed out loud. From that day on, he no longer did wish to be a huge whale or a super fast fish. Sully was special. He wasn't so weak. Plus, he never lost at hide and seek. Please do not think you should win all the time. Just give it your best and you'll sparkle and shine. We're all special in our own unique way. Believe in yourself. You will be okay. Don't be afraid to stand out from the crowd. You all are amazing. Stand tall and be proud. On your marks. Ready. Get set. Go. All right. That's the end of the book, but there's some facts here about seahorses. Did you know? Seahorses live in tropical oceans throughout the world. 2 species of seahorse can be found off coastal waters in the UK. A seahorse is a type of fish, but they have bony plates covering their bodies instead of scales. Many seahorses can avoid predators by changing the color of their underwater plants, just like Sully does in the story. They are one of the only creatures on Earth in which the male carries the unborn babies until they're ready to hatch. A baby seahorse is also known as a fry, as in French fry. Seahorses are carnivores and feed on plankton and tiny fish. They eat by sucking food through their snout. Seahorses are not good swimmers, so they anchor themselves to corals and seagrasses with their tails. Some species of seahorse are under threat. This is due to several factors, including ocean pollution, coastal developments, and overfishing for use in traditional Chinese medicine, the pet and souvenir trade. So, there's actually another book here that they wrote called Monty the Manatee. That might be a fun read. So I'm not so sure why I got this. Somebody might have recommended this, but it's a cute little book. So I'm gonna just stretch my back for a couple minutes, and then when I come back, I'll start showing you the Shorebirds books and reading you the little pictures of the Shorebirds. All right, ice spiker. Hi. Hey, you. Hi. Hi, guys. You have a little teeny head tilt. Hi there. Hi. Where you going? Where you going? Hmm? Where you going? Oh, it feels good here. Alma. Hi, Alma. Hmm. All right. Let me give a couple more seconds, and I'll be right back. Did you eat all this? Still some left. Yeah. Would you like me to bring it over? There you go. There you go. Hi, Toyota. How you doing? How you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, Ramsey is definitely chilled out. Can you see Ramsey? Yeah, I guess you can see. All right. How you doing, little one? You are teeny tiny. Okay. Mid-Atlantic shorebirds. And the first picture I'm going to show you is this birdie. This is a double-crested cormorant. Well, we had them in Virginia. When not swimming or diving for fish, cormorants are often seen spread eagle on pilings or beaches, drying their wings. Next one I'm going to show you is a snow goose. Snow geese are a common sight in tidal wetlands during fall and winter, often feeding in large numbers on marsh flats. So, snow geese. All right, next one. I don't think anybody's ever seen these. It's a very rare one called Canada goose. The most widespread North American goose. Canada geese travel in V-shaped formations and announce the arrival of fall with their distinctive honkings. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that before, have we? Next, I believe this is a wood duck. This colorful duck often perches in trees and is found in wooded swamps and streams where it nests in tree cavities. It's a wood duck. Next one looks like a mallard. Yes, a familiar sight in marshes and lakes. The male mallard is easily recognized for by a shiny green head and white neck ring. For protective coloration during nesting season, the female, a dull brown with a flash of teal on her wing, is not as flamboyant. So here is the male mallard. Next, I don't know what these are. These are called glossy ibis. Although at a distance glossy ibis appear black, this heron-like wader is actually indecent chestnut color. They're usually seen feeding in marshes and swamps. Oh, you're welcome. It's really my pleasure. All right, this has got to be a blue heron. Let's see. The great blue heron. Oh, yes. This large wading bird has a wingspan of 70 inches and is frequently found standing at the edge of a marsh, hunting for fish or frogs. They nest in trees. Hi, Jessie. Next one looks like another heron. Yellow-crowned night heron, found in swamps and coastal thickets. This nocturnal heron eats small fish and crustaceans. Its distinctive quawk is often heard at dusk. A beautiful picture. Love the reflection of the water. Next one is the snowy egret. This small white heron was once hunted to near extinction for its plumes. Used to decorate hats, it is easily identified by its bright yellow feet. Egrets, I've had a few. Thank you. I am here all week. Try the veal.
Don't forget the tangerine.
Yes. All right, next one looks like it's a crane. Now it's the great egret. One of the largest egrets, this wading bird is often seen feeding alone in marshes, peering into the water with its neck stretched out, hunting fish and crustaceans. So that is the great egret. I do have to tell you, those, we lived on a pond in Virginia, and I do miss watching some of the wildlife there. Though, got plenty of wildlife in the house.
Oh.
Here is a common tern. These graceful water birds hover over the sea and dive in headfirst to catch fish. Also called sea swallows, they are easily identified by their deeply forked tails. This is, I'll do everything, turn, turn, turn. All right, that's enough. I'm surprised my wife hasn't logged on just to berate me. A black skimmer. This crow-sized bird feeds by skimming the surface of the water with the lower mandible of its odd knife-like bill. Skimmers nest in colonies on sandy beaches. The nests merely depressions in the sand. Look at them. They're actually beautiful birds. Look at the colors. Again, these are mid-Atlantic shorebirds. All right, next one is a piping plover. This small wading bird is the color of sand and hard to spot on any beach. Coastal development has dramatically decreased their nesting sites, putting them on the threatened list of the Federal Endangered Species Act. And it's a cute little bird. All right, next one is the ruddy turnstone. This harlequin patterned bird found on beaches is quite striking in flight. It finds food by turning over small stones and pebbles or digging large holes in the sand in pursuit of crustaceans. I hear you. You know, Jesse, our Jesse yells, a lot too, but not like that. All right, next one is the semi-palmated sandpiper. This peep is perhaps the most numerous shorebird in migration. Semi-palmated means partially webbed and refers to the bird's feet. The webbing keeps them from sinking into the mud or wet sand as they probe for food. I mean, these look just like sanderlings. Oh yeah, I knew you were here. All right, next one is an American oyster catcher. We learned about them last week, didn't we? The oyster catcher is a nosy, conspicuous bird that uses its blade-like bill to poke through mussels and crabs. Once almost deleted by hunting, under protection they have become numerous again up and down the Atlantic coast. So last week we had drawlings. This is a real picture of an oyster catcher. Next one is a laughing gull. These small black-hooded gulls, pictured here feeding on newly deposited horseshoe crab eggs, are hoodless in the winter. They are found in salt marshes and bays where they nest in colonies. So these are laughing gulls. I think we've all heard laughing gulls. Alright, next one, and these are all postcards. Next one is a herring gull. This ubiquitous seagull is found inland and along the coast. In addition to their skill in breaking open clams by dropping them on roofs and parking lots, this scavenger also eats the eggs and young of terns, laughing gulls, and plovers. So this is basically a scavenger bird. All right, next one. I know I've seen this one before. Maybe I didn't. The American bittern. Bittern, B-I-T-T-E-R-N. This secretive bird will, unlike other herons, freeze when approached, its bill pointing upward. Its peculiar pumping call has earned it the nicknames Thunder Pumper and Stake Driver. Don't know which side is up. Nice picture again of the reflection into the water. Next one, this looks like some kind of a hawk. Yep, sharp-shinned hawk. A small hawk with a long tail and short, rounded wings. This bird's habitat covers much of North America. It is often seen in migration along shore areas. The next one, and we only have a couple left, is the osprey. This hawk, shown in nest with young, feeds exclusively on fish, the only raptor to plunge feet first into the water to grab them. Their large nests are sometimes seen on top of utility poles and high platforms erected especially for them. And I believe this is the last one, the belted kingfisher. This small solitary bird with the oversized head and beak fishes from a high perch above the water, or by hovering and diving in head first. They are found along rivers, lakes, and estuaries. I believe we had some of those in Virginia. So I think this is a cute little shorebird book. So I was also going to tell you a little story. I got a request from the author of Oscar and Emmy You know, they have the 3 books that we read here. Well, she said that she would send me a free copy of the brand new Oscar and Emmy book. It's called Oscar and Emmy Go to the Vet. So she's going to send me a copy of it. So once I get a copy, I will read it here. So that'll be the 4th Oscar and Emmy book. Also, just to let you know, oh, you're welcome, Danielle. Spiker is sticking his tongue out at me right now, and I am taking it personally. So, but obviously Spiker is dreaming because his paws are going a mile a minute.
Do you know the author of the Oscar and Emmys? Like, is that how this you're getting the book?
Terry Sable is her name.
Right, but I mean, like, do you know her personally? That's what.
Oh no, I don't know her personally. What I did was I posted the story time on the Oscar and Emmy Facebook page.
Oh, nice.
And I was telling her that we have read all of the Oscar and Emmy books during story time for, you know, the COVID-19. So.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. So, I am actually starting to run out of books. I'm probably going to run out of books in maybe a month. But that's only if I don't find the other ones, because Bonnie's got a ton of children's books. So I haven't found them all. I know I have some other books that are in the garage. I have to go through some of the boxes that are in the garage. So.
You need your car manual.
What's that? Yeah. But no, I mean, there's plenty of books. I mean, I think I'm also going to venture into some of the popular kids' books, like Where the Wild Things Are. What's the other one? Alexander, the Terrible No Good. I forget what it's called. And maybe, like, I know there's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs somewhere, too. So, you know, she's got a ton of them. But there will be a time when probably not going to be animal related, but that's okay. Hi, Spiker. You know, actually, I just found my unabridged version of The Stand. I could read that.
A what version?
Of The Stand, the unabridged version. It's like this thick.
Are you kidding?
No.
That was one. I'm not a fan of his for the most part. He's too gory.
Oh, that was a great book.
But that one.
That was a great.
And it.
Yeah. It scared me half
Well,
to death
I'm
when
not
I
a
first
clown
read
fan,
it.
so that didn't help.
What's that?
Clowns.
Oh yeah. We all float down here.
But there's something else.
I haven't seen the second It. I got to see it because, like I said, I love the book. The book was freaky, and I thought both the miniseries and the first movie did a really good job. I haven't seen the second one yet,
Really?
but I will.
I didn't see the series, but I thought the first movie was cool.
Hello, how is Louisville, Kentucky, Tammy? I spent 2 months in Louisville in the year 2000. I was there for work, so I was always work was right by the Brown. Thank you, Ms. M. Barbara is doing okay. She is still having some breathing issues. They did have to bring her back to the hospital.
The second time?
You know, it's not the second time; it's like the 5th time. But I think they treated her and released her, and you know, she seems to be doing okay. Her daughter is sick, and I think they were worried that she had COVID, but her daughter looks like she doesn't have it. She's on antibiotics, and she seems to be doing a little better. So they actually have somebody else feeding the outside kitties, so that's good. So this little, a tiny, tiny little kitty is here in the same bed with Janie. Yes, The Stand is brilliant. It is an epic book. You know, part of my problem now is I don't read as much as I used to because my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. But I'd like to get back into reading just so that. But you know, I guess I'm afraid that I'm gonna get headaches and all of that. But maybe I'll try it out. But yeah, the Unabridged The Stand I found doesn't have the cover. Yeah, but. Just watching this little Inky sleeping, it's very peaceful. I was a little concerned because he was sneezing. So Louisville, Kentucky. I did really enjoy the 8 weeks I was down in Louisville. Really, really, really great place. I took some weekend sojourns. I went to Nashville a couple times. I did go to Memphis, and I went to Graceland when I was there. While I was staying in Louisville, I went to the Louisville Slugger Museum. There's a Thomas Edison house in Louisville. Of course, I don't know, is the Galleria still there in Louisville? Really enjoyed my time in Louisville. Oh, Tom Cullen in the TV adaptation. Is Tom Cullen the one who goes M-O-O-N? That spells moon. Do you see this one here?
Yeah. Have you seen the even smaller, the gray one?
No. The gallery is long gone. Okay. I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, those downtown malls. I mean, Philadelphia, they just remodeled their downtown mall and they renamed it and all of that. Will it survive? I don't know.
They reopened the gallery?
Yeah, it's called the Fashion District of Philadelphia or something like that. So they're specializing in clothes and discount there, but also they have a lot of, you know, food places and
So
they
like before.
they have a what's that?
So like before.
A lot of it, but they also have like City Winery, which is a, you know, it's like a brew pub slash live music place. A City Winery actually is in a lot of major cities. They're I think they have a movie plex there now, and you know, supposedly they did you know, huge, like they took out all the steps, so now like everything is level.
Oh.
You know. What's that little kitty? This little kitty did not want to leave me. This little Inky girl guy, I don't know. I'm going to get going in about 5 minutes. Ding dong, the witch is dead. I'm trying to think of, the Brown was on Broadway. and our office was right down the street from the Brown. And we would go to the Brown for lunch sometimes, and the Brown is where they originated the hot browns. So that is like the sandwich in Louisville is the hot brown. Spiker. Spiker. Oh yeah, we tried the hot brown. Could I tell you what it tastes like now? No, it's like 20 years ago. You know, they had to put me up in a hotel for 8 weeks so they wouldn't let me stay at the Brown. They should have, you know, the people who had to fly in, you know, they had to stay a night or two. They put up at the Brown, but because I was there for 8 weeks, they put me up in an apartment, a long-term apartment. It's one of those things where I know where it, you know, I could picture it right now, but, you know. Thank you, Dutchie. We had a problem with our central air. It wasn't hooked up, so we had to get the guy to come out on Tuesday or yesterday to hook it up. But we spent all weekend roasting in the house. It was awful. And Gallant really had a problem. He was really warm. Like, it's funny because you could tell when he's warm because he spreads out trying to get cool. But I think he appreciates the central air now.
What is the matter?
Candy.
Okay.
Who's up there?
It looks like Lena, and I don't know where.
Ah, Lena's from Myers, right?
Yeah. What do you got, sweetie? What's got you hooked up? Okay. Calm down. I don't like you goofing off up there.
Is that Hensley? It is Hensley. Hensley has entered the room. Hey, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna stop at the store before I go.
Are you standing up?
What's that?
Are you standing up anytime soon?
Yeah, like in a
Can you
minute.
grab that dish from Jesse?
Sure.
Thank you. I only love you for your height.
Yeah, I feel exploited.
Alright.
You didn't really eat much.
Did you do the broth? Yeah. Oh, not even that.
Yeah.
Other stuff around.
Yeah.
Would you like to bring me some of that?
Oh. All right, guys. I will see you next week. Have a good night.
Oh, really, thanks again for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
How about I say yo?
I certainly will. All right, guys. Bye.
Can I go in there?